Welcome to Faculty Assessment Training, Designing Effective Course Assessments. With a focus on higher education faculty, this training offers flexible entry points for both new instructors and seasoned educators to help refine their assessment skills. While the full training module is a bit longer, this presentation features a curated selection of slides to highlight key aspects of the design, including instructional strategy, flow, accessibility, and various storyline features. Peer and instructor feedback has been carefully considered in the development of this module up to this point, which includes a clear understanding of the target audience, accessibility, and instructional balance. When I began designing this module, I knew I wanted it to feel structured, but not too rigid. So I settled on 5 main sections: alignment, designing assessments, using data, peer feedback, and final evaluation. These were chosen to build on each other in a scaffolded way. I used user-centered design throughout, thinking not only about content, but how faculty would experience and apply it. Prior feedback from peers helped me break down complex ideas into manageable pieces, which resulted in a clean, modular structure. A major turning point in the project came from prior peer feedback on my learning objectives. Originally, they were too broad. For example, one stated, "Improve student learning outcomes by utilizing assessment data." That was way too vague. I revised the objectives to be more measurable and actionable. For example, one revised objective reads, "Analyze student assessment data to identify learning gaps and make informed instructional decisions." This change helped clarify the module's focus and made it easier to design aligned assessments and activities. One feature I'm particularly proud of is the quick analysis activity in the aligning assessment portion of the training module. It presents a short teaching scenario and asks learners to decide whether the assessment aligns with the learning objective. What makes it stand out is the layered feedback. Learners don't just get a correct, incorrect response. They get guided explanations rooted in instructional theory. This activity gives users a safe space to think critically without fear of failure. I wanted to move beyond static data snapshots and instead highlight how student performance can evolve over time. The side-by-side trends for Class A and Class B are meant to prompt learners to consider why performance might differ between groups and how instructional strategies might be adapted in response. This visual supports the idea that assessment is part of a continuous cycle of reflection, adjustment, and instructional growth. I was mindful that learners will come into this training with different levels of experience. Some might be brand new to data-informed teaching, while others are looking to refine and deepen their current practices. So I used a visual supported by prompting questions rather than a lecture-type approach, allowing the content to meet learners where they are. Prior peer feedback had commented on the balance between instruction and assessment, and this slide plays an important role in that. It is a teaching moment to support the interactive evaluations that come later in the module. This section allows learners to analyze classroom performance data and select an appropriate instructional response. I drew on resources from the National Institute for Learning Outcomes Assessment to ensure evidence-based rationale and promote data literacy. The purpose of this activity is to build data literacy and support the use of assessment evidence to inform teaching practices. The training module concludes with a final knowledge check. Learners are expected to complete all sections and score at least 80%. Each question includes immediate feedback. Retakes are not required, but learners are encouraged to revisit the material to reinforce key learning outcomes that support the practical application. I designed this slide to pause and help learners recognize what they've actually done. Throughout the module, I intentionally balance instruction and application. Learners moved from concept overviews into interactive scenarios, then grounded that with case studies and knowledge checks. I added the "Why It Matters" note to connect the activities back to real outcomes, using evidence-based strategies in their own teaching. It's meant to reinforce relevance right before they reach the final wrap-up. This final slide serves not only as a conclusion, but as an important bridge to ongoing professional growth. Here, learners are guided toward clear next steps, provided with useful resource links, and offered an opportunity to download their certificate of completion, which marks both achievement and continued learning.